Good morning, guys. Thank you for coming this morning. Welcome, you guys. My name is Attorney Darren Miller, and I'm going to introduce my attorney, Tony Romanucci, and of course, my partner, Attorney Ben Crump. I'm going to turn it over to him to let him get things started for what we need to talk about here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Miller, and to you and your whole staff for trying to make this as palatable, I can't say comfortable as possible for Deja. That's Deja's there. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Tony Romanucci and Houston's own Attorney Darren Miller. We have the honor of representing Deja Smalls, the mother of Legend Smalls, who is 1 year old on March 3rd of this year. Deja was pumping gas at the Chevron station, finished pumping gas and got into her car where her baby Legend was in the back seat in his car seat. The police were chasing a suspect who allegedly had committed armed robbery. The car he was driving hit a curve and apparently must have came inoperable. He got out of his car running with a gun and came to Deja's car and opened her door with the gun and shouted obscenities to her, telling her to get out the car. Deja screamed repeatedly that I'm not getting out of the car, my baby's in the back seat. She screamed at the top of her lungs. And when she didn't get out the car, he then jumped in the car and sat on top of Deja, trying to put the car in gear. Deja was inside the car, not outside the car, when the Houston police officers opened fire into the car, shooting the suspect and killing him while he was in the car on top of Deja. And tragically, one of the bullets shot by the Houston police officer went into her baby Legend head, causing him to 2 weeks later still be in pediatric intensive care. They had to remove part of his skull to deal with the swelling of his brain. They also had to remove the bullet from his brain. He's had multiple seizures, over 10 seizures. He's still fighting for his life. They continue every day when Deja asks, what is the prognosis? They say it's wait and see, hope for the best. He's still struggling to breathe on his own. He was on a ventilator for over 10 days. But little Legend is strong. Little Legend is fighting. And we are all praying that he will get through this. But as Attorney Romanucci and I and Attorney Miller, we discussed what would be his quality of life. This 1 year old baby, Deja's baby, what would be his quality of life after having a bullet removed from his brain and part of his skull removed to relieve the pressure from brain swelling. We're going to talk about the issues surrounding the Houston Police Department shooting into the car of an innocent black woman who was just pumping gas, and they knew she was in the car. If they try to say they did not know that the baby was in the car, well, they at least knew she was in the car. I mean, you saw the videos, it's well lit. You saw how close they were. She's screaming at the top of her lungs. But they still shoot anyway, knowing that she's in the car. She was absolutely in the foreseeable zone of risk. Her life matters. Did they not take that into account when they are deciding whether to shoot into a car where they know this black woman is in the car? They knew that she wasn't with him. They saw him get out of his car and run to her car. So why would they shoot into the car, knowing she was in the car? Not knowing who else was in the car, that there could have been children. There could have been others in the car. But they shot, and regrettably and tragically, little legend will live for the rest of his life with the consequences of their decision to shoot into his mama's car, even though they knew she was in there. This is very emotional on so many levels, for so many reasons. Miss Daisha Smalls, who is obviously very emotional, is going to read her statement to you. She has not left his side at the hospital since March 3rd. This is one of the first times that she's actually left the hospital, because like any mother, she is just praying that her child will make it, and she wants to be there to make sure everything that could possibly be done to save her baby's life will be done. So Daisha is going to try to read the statement as best she can, and obviously it may get a little emotional. Daisha, I'm going to put you right in front of the microphone here and take your time.
My name is Daisha Smalls. On March 3rd, I was pumping gas at Chevron, and when I was finished pumping gas, I went back to my car, and my son was in the back seat behind me, and I saw police at the gas station and a lot of lights, and I heard sirens, and a man tried to run to my vehicle, and he got in my vehicle, and shit.
Take your time. It's okay.
And he told me to give him my car, and I wouldn't give him my car because I let him know that I have a child in my car and that I would not leave my car without my son. Shit.
Just take your time. It's okay.
I was sitting in the car when the person jumped in my car, and the police were right behind him. Before I knew what happened, they were already shooting at my car, and I was just scared for my son's life. My son has been fighting every day for his life. And he's struggling on his own to breathe by himself, to move by himself. And we pray that his life we pray that he has a healthy life and a healthy, safe recovery. My baby didn't deserve it. My baby didn't deserve to be shot, especially not by the police. The bullet was removed from my son's head the same day that he was shot, or the day after.
Take your time.
The right side of his skull is removed because he got hit in his skull, in his head with a bullet, and he still has bullet fragments in his head, and he's in intensive care. And I just want my baby to be safe. I just want my baby to be healthy. I just want him to recover. I just want him to be back how he used to be. I miss my son. My son didn't deserve this, and I don't want to leave my baby's side, like, at all. Thank you.
Obviously, this is extremely emotional, and Daisha only came here today to tell you what happened from her perspective and what she has been struggling with every hour, every minute, every second since that video from March 3rd at that Chevron gas station. So we will keep you informed of Legends' progress and pray that he can recover from this and that he can have as normal of a life possible. We will keep you informed. Please keep Daisha and her family in your prayers. At this time, you will hear from my co-counsel, Attorney Tony Ramanucci from Chicago, Illinois, who also is my co-counsel in the case involving the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He and Attorney Darren Miller are critical to trying to get to some sense of justice for Legend Smalls and Daisha Smalls. So at this time, great lawyer, great civil rights lawyer, Attorney Tony Ramanucci.
Thank you, Ben and Daisha and counsel. I appreciate being here. You know, we heard that the first, narrative when this incident happened was that Legend had received a graze wound. Clearly, as we stand before you today, we know that that narrative is not true. It was a false narrative in the beginning. And we have to weigh all of what happened that night to determine whether it was objective and reasonable. We know that by the orders of the Houston Police Department, that they determined that all human life has value. That means the value of suspects who run away from them. That means innocent people who sit in the front seat of their cars in a gas station. And certainly that pertains to innocent children and babies who are in their car seats in the rear seat of vehicles. Every human life is sacred, it is sanctified, and is precious. Those are the rules of the Houston Police Department. Those are not the rules that the lawyers here on this stage have made up. Those are the rules of the Houston Police Department. So what we have to determine now, were the actions of the Houston Police Department both objective and reasonable under the circumstances? And clearly the answer is no. This suspect, this man who ran away from the police when he got in Daisha's car, whether or not they want to deem this a hostage situation or not, we don't even know what they're going to say about it. But even if this suspect had taken Daisha hostage, you don't shoot. This is not the movies. This isn't the TV show. This is real. This is objectiveness, and this is reasonableness. The objectiveness is that there are innocent people in the line of fire, and we know that you do not shoot unless you know what your target is. And clearly the Houston police did not know their target because they hit Legend squarely in the skull, not a graze wound. So when we determine those factors of objectiveness and reasonableness, it's not an or factor, we can see that what the Houston Police Department did violated their policies. Legend should not have been shot. The objective qualifier here is, according to the Houston Police Department, was there potential for injury to citizens, officers, or suspects? And the answer is a clear yes. There was great potential. There was actually grave potential for injury to citizens. And that's exactly what happened. So under their own rules, this was not a justified shooting. And as a result of this needless harm, this mother has to suffer watching her child struggling to breathe on his own. And Ben is holding a look at that picture. Nobody will know whether the legend that Daisha woke up with on March 2nd of this year will be the legend that she has waking up with him for the rest of this child's life. And that's heartbreaking, ladies and gentlemen. And that's because the rules were not followed. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Ramanucci. It is heartbreaking. As I'm standing here with Deja quivering beside me, we're going to take a few questions, but obviously we won't take too many because this is so difficult for her, and we will follow up with you. If you want more photographs of Legend, you can contact us at press@bencrump.com. He's such a beautiful baby. He, as his mother said, he did not deserve this. He did not deserve this. Why would the police not respect her life? They knew she was in the car, this innocent black woman, but yet they started shooting in the car knowing that bullets have no names on them. And when you shoot into the car, you put her life at risk. Not to mention, one of those bullets had Legend name on it. Was it worth that? Was it worth it to put their lives in danger like that? Because right now in America, we're talking a lot about when it comes to African Americans, the police often shoot first and ask questions later. And they don't do that to other citizens. They don't shoot first and ask questions later. That's what we want in our community too. When you're dealing with black citizens, we want you to use objectivity and reasonableness, as Attorney Ramanucci was discussing, as their policy. Apply the same policy to black women and black men, just like your policy say you do to everyone else. That's all we're asking for. We believe had you done that, Daisha would not be here shaking and quivering, and her baby boy, 1 year old, would not be lying in the pediatric intensive care trying to recover from seizures and brain swelling and struggling to breathe. That's why we have to have better policing, because these are our children that are being harmed. These are our children that are being killed, and their lives matter. So we'll take your questions, if you have any. Yes, ma'am.
Have you already filed a lawsuit? Do you plan to file a lawsuit against the police department? And if so, when and what will that look like?
I'll let Tony take that question.
So yes, our intention is to file a lawsuit. We are developing more facts, and once those facts are fully developed, you can anticipate a lawsuit being filed shortly.
Do you know how many shots were fired by the officer?
And those are some of the facts that we're still developing. That is an important fact. We don't know the total number and how many officers shot, whether it was one or more, and so we do need to find that out.
Well, we know it was more than one.
Yeah.
Because he was killed and a bullet went into Legend's head. Any other questions?
Two questions. The first, for the mother, David, I know you're going through so much right now to see your child in the hospital. Can you tell us a little bit about your son prior to this incident? His personality prior to.
Baby, he was.
He was my baby.
You want to stay here as loud as you can.
My son, he was a smart baby. He was active. I mean, I don't really know what else to say.
She said he was a smart baby. He was very active, a good baby.
And sir, just to clarify, because there have been different accounts of what we were hearing from police initially, so Deja was inside the vehicle at the time the police started firing.
Yes.
Yes, and also, obviously, there's surveillance video at the Chevron that has been made, some of it public. We want all of it to be made public. You certainly want truth and transparency. And we understand that Houston police officers have police body cam video. We would want that to be made public as well. We think that will give you the vantage point of a lot of the police perspective.
So, sir, there is body cam?
Well, we believe there is. We believe that there was a big, proposal by your city council to make sure all the Houston police officers were outfitted with body cam equipment. And, you know, quite frankly, if the taxpayers paid all this money for body cam video, it would be shocking if none of those officers had their body cam video on. I think you have a very active, responsible police chief who I'm sure would make his officers follow the policy of having their body cameras on when they engage with the public in such a consequential manner.
How do you explain the inconsistencies of what we were told that night? We were told this was a Graysburg, that she wasn't in the car, and you're saying that there's video to prove otherwise.
Well, all I'm saying, the video, I'm thinking they're going to have body cam video. We have not seen it yet. You saw some of the surveillance video, but what we have is this mother who knows exactly where she was at.
Sir, have you requested the body cam? Had any discussion with Chief Acevedo?
We have not. We look forward to talking with Chief Acevedo and the leadership of the city of Houston, because I'm sure they all are praying for Legend and want to make sure that he gets whatever measure of justice that should be given to him. He and his mother were completely innocent, and we challenge anybody to say anything but that. She was an innocent black woman doing what people do thousands of times a day, pumping gas. That's all she did. And this suspect tried to take her car from her, and she refused because her baby was in the back seat. And she did what any mother would have done. Any mother in America would have refused to give up their car with their baby in the back seat. And for that there, she has had to pay such horrible, horrible consequences. Are there any other questions? We'll take two more.
Has anybody from the city or the police department tried to contact either you or her?
They only told her she could pick up her car. That's it.
No one was called to check on the condition of Legend
No.
or offer any support to you at all?
No. The most I heard from HPD or a detective was that my car is available at HPD to be picked up.
Did they explain to you what happened make an apology in any way?
They can't explain to me what happened when I was there the whole time.
But I mean, did they talk with you about it?
They asked me my name, my number, and my address. And that was it.
Last question.
How old are you, and do you live in Houston?
I do live in Houston. I'm 19 years old.
Tony, you were about to say something?
I just wanted to say, one of the gentlemen asked a question about the differential in the narrative. Well, you can see that if the narrative is with Daisha outside the car and a graze wound, how that changes the complexity and the dynamics of the case significantly. When she's in the car and a bullet goes straight into this baby's head, it's a different case. So the police got out in front of the narrative. That's the narrative that they told. But the truth is standing to my right and to Ben's left. And that's where this case is going to fall. There is no truth is in the middle. The truth is on the right side. And when the time comes, this mother will give whatever statements that she needs to in order to tell the truth of what happened that night and make this case what it is. This baby should not have been shot.
Darren, do you have anything to add?
I do. Folks, I've lived in Houston for the last 42 years. I've got 4 children here. I've got a beautiful wife here. And to have to encounter issues like this over and over again, we've got to make a change. And we can't continue to do this. So we're going to find out what's going on. We're going to investigate. And we've got to do something to make sure that everyone's actions in future are much better. We thank you guys for coming out. And Marty can arrange for any questions you have after the scenes. And we'll give you more information as it becomes available. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have pictures for you if you want them at Press at Ben Crump or for further updates. Thank you, Attorney Miller.